acoustichealth.com, your portal to the inner realms. Our program starts shortly. Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And welcome, everyone. Today we are talking about the beautiful brain and how we can actually heal the trauma in the brain. We can retrain our brains, getting out of that memory and actually opening up to joy and abundance and so much more. My guest today is Adalina East, and she has got a beautiful experience and a session for us here today. Let's welcome Adalina to Quantum Conversations. Hello, Adalina. Thank you for being here.
Hello, Loren. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. We want to welcome you here and to this sacred space. We want to welcome everyone here. You're going to be answering some questions, but first we're going to be talking about this incredible transformational healing modality that you work with your clients on. This really assists to heal from the trauma so that we can go on to work with our spirit guides and multidimensional selves, our higher self as well. So you've got a beautiful story. I just want to say thank you for being here. I love that you've got this background in neuroscience and counseling, and yet here we are on this spiritual journey. So I just want to read a little bit about your background for our lovely audience who is going to be really into what you have to say. You are a channel of the Pleiadians and the Arcturians, the Mary Magdalene Collective, the Archangel Collective, and you have wisdom from the guides. In fact, your guides taught you about this healing modality. And so your own life, you've experienced a spiritual reawakening. Let's start there and talk about that health crisis that you had. Was that really the beginning of awakening or a reawakening?
It was a reawakening. I remember being very little and working with my grandmother, who's a third-generation Native American healer. And she taught me a lot about working with my guides and working with plants and herbs. And that was really the beginning for me. But like so many of us, I turned off that part of myself as I continued to grow. Because as we get older, we're often told to stop talking to our imaginary friends and to start trying to socialize into conventional reality. And I did so. I went to school for a very long time. I did all of the things that I was supposed to do in a very conventional life. But when I was in my 30s, I was working for a humanitarian aid organization, and I was working overseas, working with survivors of domestic violence. And I started to hear my guides again. We would be getting ready to go on a trip somewhere or to change direction in one of our programs. And I would hear from the guides. Sometimes I would hear, don't go, or I would hear, give this program a little bit longer or change it in this way. And I remember being very cool about it. I was a cool customer. I think most people would have heard that and wondered a bit about it. But I remembered from my childhood. And then I moved back to New York. I'm from New York originally. And I moved back to New York when I was about 35. And I got sick very quickly. It started with incredible pain in my hands and my wrists. And we thought it was just from working too much, which I have a habit of doing. And then it just really spread through my body. At a certain point, I couldn't walk anymore, and I got an electric wheelchair, which I was very privileged and grateful to have. And I lived that way for about a year and a half. I saw 27 doctors, and we couldn't find out what was wrong. I went to conventional doctors, I went to therapists, I saw functional medicine doctors, and finally, what ended up turning things around for me was communicating with my guides again. I started to really hear them. I started to hear them over the voices of the doctors who were diagnosing me with very scary things for me.
Yeah, so, I mean, how did you keep from going down that tunnel of fear or that sinkhole of fear? Or
well,
did
Loren,
you?
I didn't. I didn't.
Okay. 27 doctors and then having to be in a wheelchair, that's extreme. Oh my goodness.
It was
and
extreme.
The voices, did they start out as soft and gentle and then get louder? What happened?
I remember being in a rheumatologist's office who was diagnosing me with MS and rheumatoid arthritis. And I was crying hysterically because, of course, you want an answer when you're feeling so terrible. And I thought, okay, maybe this is what it is. And if I just start taking these medications, I'm going to start to feel better. But I knew in my soul that that was not what the problem was. I knew in my soul that there was a major emotional component to this. And after having counseled thousands and thousands of people going through extreme trauma, I knew that was a part of it and that no one was really talking about it. And so I started to hear from one of my guides. It was my first contact with Archangel Michael in that doctor's office. And I heard his voice say, "You're going to be okay. This is not for you. These medications are not for you. You have a different path." And so I went home and started working on my path. I started channeling again and reached out to my grandmother for help.
Yes.
I started taking a lot of herbs. I found an incredible herbalist to work with also. And it actually turned around pretty quickly. I would say within about 3 months, I had found wonderful practitioners to work with who knew that it was emotional also and that there was a post-traumatic stress component from all that I'd seen and all that I'd witnessed when I was working overseas and my childhood. And I started to develop this modality of transformational healing. Archangel Michael would come to me every morning around 4 a.m. I would get up and sit at my computer. And at the beginning, I couldn't type at all. I couldn't hardly move. And so I had voice dictation software. And I started dictating. It didn't always make perfect sense to me. But he would channel through what to do day by day. It really annoyed me at the time because I wanted a long-term plan. I wanted to know, okay, if you do this for the next 3 months, you're going to be fine. But the process was slow so that I could get accustomed to hearing from him every day and so that I could get accustomed to trusting. Trust has always been a major component for me and I'm sure for a lot of other people. And it built my trust muscle, doing that every morning for several months. And over the course of time, Archangel Michael and several of my other guides channeled through this methodology of healing trauma, of going back into the trauma for just a moment, not long enough to, have a 2-hour crying jag about it, but go into it for just a moment and really see and feel and hear everything around you that was happening at the time and rewriting over that trauma into something that is empowering for you. And then once that part of it came through, I started looking through my old neuroscience textbooks again from school and realized that that was neurolinguistic programming, which is a psychological technique in order to help people recover from trauma. And then after that started to help me more and more, my guides started channeling through these beautiful tones, and their voices were so beautiful. You, of all people, know a lot about this, I know. The human voice and the sounds of the universe are just so incredibly healing. And so I would start humming and toning aloud, trying to mimic their sounds. And through that process, my trauma really lifted. And it happened pretty quickly. It was about 3 months of working with herbs and working with transformational healing until I really started to feel a lot better.
What an incredible journey. And isn't it beautiful that the tones that came through you, the beautiful tones, that's an incredible story. All right, so I want to ask, can you share about that emotional aspect? I mean, what was that when you got to it? I mean, was it fear then? I would believe it was all based in fear, but what was that for you, and what were you doing working overseas? I want to draw our listeners to your bio right here on our webpage, because you've worked for the United Nations and other countries. What was that work?
It was many different things. I was very fortunate to just get very brave. At about 28, I worked in film production before that, and I went to Myanmar and fell in love with photography and fell in love with the country, and came back to New York and knew that I needed to make a change. I had to do something different. And I moved to a very small country called Timor-Leste that's so beautiful, one of the most beautiful places on earth. It's between Indonesia and Australia. And I started by teaching English there. I was fortunate to get a job doing so. I had only done it on a voluntary basis before that. And through that work, I began working for the United Nations, and I held many different positions during that time. But one of the ones that made the most changes in me, and I believe the most changes in other people, was counseling based and working with survivors of domestic violence and documenting their stories, working through those traumas with them, as well as traumas that happened in their history, in their political history. And through that process, I learned so much. I learned a lot about what heals a person. I learned a lot about the different ways that people process trauma. And what's incredible to me about transformational healing and about the fact that my guides channeled this through me is that they really pick the most perfect earth beings possible to do different things based on our backgrounds. It was no coincidence that I had gone into counseling and I had gone into neuroscience and then had this channel through me. They needed to select a person who had the right conventional background so that they would be understanding of what was happening. And I think that we all have amazing backgrounds, and we all have spiritual gifts. And our guides channel things through us that were meant for us based on our unique life experiences and our unique backgrounds.
Well, it is beautiful that you've tapped into it, and really awesome. So as you then began to channel Archangel Michael, did you know at first that that was him? Did you recognize him, or did you just hear it as a voice? How did that come about?
I heard it as a voice, and I heard all of my guides as different voices. I'm very clairaudient, and I'm also clairvoyant, so I could also see them. But I didn't learn how to ask for their names until about 2 years after it was happening to me as an adult. I remember I was listening to some podcast. To be honest, I don't remember what one it was. I don't think it exists anymore. But I was listening to a podcast, and I remember someone saying, well, I just asked my guide what his name was. And I thought to myself, well, that's brilliant. Why don't I do that? Thank you. Thank you for that tip. And so I started asking. When the guides started coming through, I started asking. I hope someone out there hears this and is reminded that they can just ask. It's so wonderful.
Just ask, yes. Well, it's a beautiful journey of trust for you then, as you received this guidance and you went through that process to really get accustomed to those messages. So then as the tones started coming forth, what was that experience like for you?
It was ethereal. At this point, I had been doing the rewriting of various traumas for about a month and a half. And I was experiencing a lot of physical relief. I had started to work with a chiropractor who just really sorted me out. He's wonderful. And I was experiencing so much physical relief so quickly, and the emotional relief was even more intense. And one morning I was sitting at my computer, and at this point I could sort of type again. It was not fast or anything, but I could type a little bit. And so I was voice dictating and then sometimes typing. And I was rewriting one of my biggest traumas from working overseas. Not a vicarious trauma, but a direct trauma to me. And after I had finished rewriting it, I was still sobbing, and I still felt pretty horrible. And I heard this beautiful angelic voice in my ear, and these tones that were so pure and so clear. And I wasn't asking for names at this point yet. But I just said, am I supposed to sing this? And she said, yes, it was Mary Magdalene. And I began humming along with her. And everything just lifted. It was the most incredible experience. I'm so grateful.
Oh, yes. Okay. And so let's recap what happened there for you, because it's the release of trauma that actually allowed an opening. And I think if we were to each look back at areas in our lives with something similar, right? For example, when my mother transitioned 10 years ago, it was sudden, and I was overwhelmed by just the emotion of that. And my shoulders, I was driving just on a little dirt road. It wasn't dangerous, but my shoulders slumped down, and then all of a sudden, for me, it's more of a feeling. It's beautiful that you have that clairaudience and the clairvoyance. I have a little clairaudience, but this was more of a sensation. Something lifted my shoulders and just overcame with peace. I could have asked who that was. I have not. I think I have a good idea now, but it was so beautiful. And this is what you're talking about. And so it's the true healing of that trauma. What's going on when you're working with, in your process of removing this trauma? You know, we don't have to go into it too long, but there definitely is something going on in the brain, and it also goes quantum. You mentioned rewriting the trauma. Talk a little bit more about this and this process that you assist your clients with.
So I have to geek out just a bit and talk a little bit about neuroscience here, because it's actually very interesting, the way that the guides will use the things that we already know to help us. So when I was studying neuroscience, I became very obsessed with the limbic brain, because the limbic brain is what sets us into fight or flight, but it also is what relaxes us, and it's also our memory center. And so, for example, our amygdala processes our survival information and it encodes our emotional memory, but it's also the fear center of the brain. And it responds to our physical environment, like car accidents and explosions and things like that. So for many people, especially for the people that I served overseas, they'd had a lot of these kinds of traumas. There was a lot of political upheaval. When working in Bangladesh, there was even more so. And when you have a physical trauma, your brain remembers a trauma before that one and links them together. And so now you have, loosely speaking, 4 different parts of your brain: your amygdala, your hippocampus, your hypothalamus, and your cingulate cortex, all ramping up to help you remember the trauma that happened before this one and how awful it was. And then your brain goes into a loop about the older trauma. You think you're thinking of the current trauma, but it's actually going back in history. And this is how we learn fear associations. And so, for example, when working with a client, if they have, let's say, a traumatic story about childhood, and they were raised with a lot of perfectionism, which many of us were, and there was a lot of pressure to be perfect and bring home perfect grades, and if they didn't have perfect grades, they were punished. To this day, as an adult, their amygdala doesn't know that they're a grown-up now. And if they don't, write that academic paper perfectly, or if they don't come up with the perfect pitch for their new client, they won't be punished. Our brains kind of stay back in that loop unless we can rewrite them out of it. And so when we rewrite trauma, it's best if we can go back to the very earliest trauma that ever took place that is causing this fear association or this feeling of pain or anguish, and rewrite that very old trauma, because oftentimes all of the other traumas stacked on top of it lift. And this is scientific. This is not just what the guides have channeled through me, but it actually is proven that if you can overcome your older traumas, the newer ones that have been connected within your neural pathways in your brain to that trauma are also lifted.
Yes. Don't you love that science? Okay. I mean, that is, that's where it goes quantum. Absolutely. So wonderful. Yeah. And being such a young age, witnessing all that trauma too, and then helping people with that trauma. Wow. That's just a lot to take into account. It really is. So, okay. So then so we're talking about your current, I've taken notes here because it's beautiful. The tones that come forward, that too, here you've got this modality that truly is multidimensional. Can you give us, it would be beautiful to have you bring forward some of those tones or a message as well so that we can feel some of that essence. Would you like to do that?
I would love that. Thank you so much. The guides have actually been channeling through a few different things to do. Is it okay if we do all of them?
Oh, yes. I know we would love that. Absolutely.
Good. Okay, great. So we're going to start with a transformational healing process. And because we are here as a group, and because we do have some time, I'm going to ask us all to be very open to the process and to be open to what the guides bring through. We're going to go pretty deep so that we can receive the deepest level of healing. So I know that for many of us, when we think about trauma, we think about a car accident, or we think about a divorce or a broken heart or something having to do with a friendship. But I'm going to ask our very sophisticated listeners here to go back even further and think of something that happened in your childhood that was not positive for you, that may have shaped something about you that doesn't make you happy right now. And you don't need to stay there long. Just hold it in your memory for a moment. And now imagine yourself in your very favorite place outdoors. It doesn't have to be real. It can be a place with pink sand and purple clouds. It can be a desert or a beach or a forest. Whatever makes you feel good right now. And ground your feet into this place. And begin pulling the healing energy up from this place, up your feet, and up your legs, and all the way through your chakra system. And begin to bring your mind, body, and spirit up through the sky, up through the clouds, up through the stars and the planets, and further up through the reds and oranges, yellows, greens, blues, pinks and purples, and further up through the laws of the universe, and all the way up until you reach this place of source energy. Feel this iridescent light surround you. We call in Source and our guides for the highest healing for us. And we set our intention on rewriting our story, on healing this particular trauma today in the best way for us. Thank you. It is done. And so remember the images that surrounded you during this trauma, which we will rewrite. See the floor, see the ceiling, or if you were outdoors, see where you were. And smell the smells. Give yourself the most somatic memory of this that you possibly can. And now rewrite it into something that is very loving and empowering for you. I'm going to go back to the example of perfectionism. So if you were little and you brought home less than A's or less than 10s on your report card and you were punished for it, imagine that you bring home lower level grades because you're likely too intelligent to be in that class anyway. And imagine one of your parents saying to you, "It's okay. I understand this is not working for you. Let's find a good solution. If this isn't working, let's try changing teachers or perhaps changing classrooms. What is it that you're interested in? What would you like to learn about? Where does your heart point you?" And this is just an example. Rewrite it in a way that's most empowering for you, that feels the best. Just take a moment here to do that. And as you rewrite, the Mary Magdalene Collective is stepping forward. And they would like to channel through some tones for all of us. Please connect your first finger and your thumb on both hands. And gently receive these tones. And now we will ask you to tone with us. If you are still rewriting your old memory, please continue and tone with us, keeping your first finger and thumb connected on both hands. And now we ask that you continue to tone with us. Wrap up the rewriting of your story. Connect your ring finger, your pinky finger, and your thumb together, fingertips touching. And please tone with us. And know that it does not matter what notes you create with your mouth. It is about your intention. And the healing comes through the vibration of your own voice. Please tone with us. And take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And relax your hands. We are the Mary Magdalene Collective, and we are joined today by the Pleiadians and the Council of Light. And we're so very pleased to be with you. We're very pleased for this opportunity to work with you, to heal trauma, to move into your future, to move into your new way of thinking and believing and feeling. When you are seeking healing, remember that this is a part of your path. As you continue to heal the wounds of the past, your spiritual gifts come to light. For there must be room for your gifts to come to light. As you continue to clear out the cobwebs and to clear out the old, the new comes rushing in. And we're very grateful for this, for you are all so needed on the planet at this moment. So very needed. We're grateful to you for the expression of your gifts and for those of you who are still searching. We are with you every moment. We are with you every step of the way. We are here to work with you, to build your gifts, to rediscover your own awakening, and to rediscover what lies within, the strength that you possess. We would like to deliver an activation today for your third eye. We channeled this activation through this channel yesterday in preparation, for we could see that those listening today and in the future were prepared for this activation, for this strengthening and this movement of the third eye into your future. And we ask you now to focus your eyes up to your third eye, the place in between your eyebrows, and focus your eyes at that point. And if you start to see color here or hear sounds, all of this is beautiful. We encourage this. This is the beginning of some of your gifts, or for some of you, the continuation. As you focus your energy and attention at this point between your eyebrows, watch as beautiful flames of white light stream out of this place, flowing all around you, filling in your aura. This is your new auric imprint. This is the auric imprint of your third eye, strengthened by the healing work that you've just done. Greater in size and scope and intuition. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Feel into this new auric imprint of your third eye. Allow it to surround you. Allow it to fill you from within. And take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And softly and gently bring your mind, body, and spirit down again, down through the laws of the universe, through the colors, the purples and pinks, blues and greens, yellows, oranges and reds, and further down through the planets and the stars, down through the sky and the clouds, and all the way down until you reach your favorite place in nature again and ground your feet into this place. Your new earth. And pull the healing energy up through your feet, through your legs, and all the way up through all of your chakras, through your entire body, allowing this beautiful energy to flow out around you, filling in your aura, solidifying this new auric imprint of your third eye. And take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And slowly open your eyes. I hope everyone's feeling okay after that. Take some deep breaths. Come back into your body, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Have a glass of water.
Yes, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for taking us there, solidifying the auric imprint of the third eye. Wow, we would love to hear your experience. If you would love to share, please type in our Q&A box or wherever you're watching this QC podcast, and you can share your comments with us. So gentle, so loving, so nurturing. How beautiful to really receive that message. So needed now on earth, really. And I know so many are really feeling the call to step up and step into the expression of their gifts. So the work that you do really assists in that. Really beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. My pleasure. And thank you to the guides for transmitting it to us.
Yes, for the guides and the Mary Magdalene Collective and the tones. So when we were toning there, I know some may ask, what if you can't tone on key? It's very interesting because if you can't tone on key, but we were humming and making the sound right there along with you, it's almost as if we were brought into that resonance.
And I remember, sometimes I remember what I channel and sometimes I don't. But today I do remember. I often go into trance when I channel, just to put myself aside. But I do remember Mary Magdalene coming through and saying, it doesn't matter if you don't create the same notes with your mouth. It's about the vibration of your own voice. And I think that's so true. It's all a vibration.
And it's very powerful. And so when we even think about using our words, it's so precious. We know this from the Hawaiians and Huna, right? So, all right, so beautiful with the sound harmonics. You actually work and channel the guides of your clients, the ascended masters and multidimensional teachers. And this is what you can offer for each of us. This is pretty interesting. Talk about how, well, we've got a special offer with you. For those who are interested, you can follow along on the link. There's a couple of items that I'd like you to share more about, because this is really where these channeled tones and sound harmonics are really customized for each person. And it's very interesting and simple on how you do this. It's a recorded channel message. Can you share about that?
Sure. So there are a couple of things on offer. I'll talk about the channeled recorded message first. That is customized just for you. So I'm giving a great discount here working with Loren, and I really encourage people to check that out because it's the closest thing to having a private session with me. So you will write in a question, and the guides will channel through a message just for you. Usually in this message, there will be a few minutes of some wisdom given. So for example, someone asked, you can ask anything. Oftentimes it's about past lives or love relationships or should I move here or should I move there? And then there are also more multidimensional questions like what are my spiritual gifts? How can I better serve? Things like that. And the guides will usually channel through some wisdom at the beginning. And then they also will channel through a transformational healing process just for you. And the interesting thing about this is that people will ask a question. So let's take a very good example that I've been getting often lately, which is, should I move somewhere? Everyone is in the mood to move. I also just moved, I understand. So should I move to Oregon, let's say? And the guides will bring through different information about their lives and the advantages of moving, the disadvantages of moving. The guides don't often tell us a yes or no answer because they leave things up to our own free will. We are human beings, after all, and we came here to have a human experience. And so they can give us wisdom, but they also leave freedom for our own free will and our own choice. And then they will channel through a process that is so beautiful and so deep, that's so spot on for that person, that every time someone purchases the channeled recorded message, I get an email message back about, how did you know that about my dad? Or how did the guides know that I needed healing for this specific accident that happened when I was 3? And of course, it's something that's beyond explanation. It's the guides channeling through me. But it has helped a lot of people. And it's a beautiful way to spend some of your time. The guides channel for about 20 minutes for each person.
Yes, and when you go back and listen to that recording, each time you listen, you'll pick up new information. There's many layers of that. Wow, so amazing. Asking anything, getting that guidance for those multidimensional questions. This is really important for the time that we're in, right? Bringing forward our gifts. It really helps bring clarity on that. And I love the channel process too. It really is custom for each person. Okay,
it really
beautiful.
is. And I encourage people to keep the questions as open as you can. Usually if a person asks something very specific, like a yes or no question, or should I take this medication or that medication, that's not what the guides bring forward mostly. They like to bring forward deeper information for you that's going to help you on a deeper level. So I encourage everybody to check that out and to keep your questions pretty open-ended so that the guides can come through and bring whatever's most important right now.
So, for example, it would be like you wouldn't have yes and no answers, like you said, but it would be, if we wanted to work on something so deeply personal, would it be, what is the best way that I could transcend competition?
That's a great one.
That's a great one.
The guys would go to town with that, yes.
Go to town. Okay. I mean, this is where it's really deep personal growth. It's like some of the challenges that we may have that we're just like, okay, what is it? Another would be, I know for another common one would be just like, what is the best way to bring in abundance or with businesses that people are working on? So these are really great. These are answers that you can provide, right? The guides love giving answers on this.
And they want to help us. That's what they're there for. They're just waiting for us to ask.
They're waiting for us to ask. Okay, so it's a single question. So you guys, if you're going to take advantage of this, which I'm excited for everyone to take advantage of this, ask a giant, huge question and keep it big and open and keep your intention open so that you can receive that best guidance for you. Very good. Beautiful. And that is $79. That's a beautiful price. I hope everyone takes advantage of that. Again, this time in our collective to really move forward, to transcend so many of those old programs. This is wisdom from your guides, from the Ascended Masters as well, and multidimensional teachers working with Adalina. Okay. Now, if you need details on this special offer, I'm going to give the website acoustichealth.com/special offers/Adalina. Also, it's in this description box on this webpage. So here's another beautiful collection. High vibrational sonic tones, the Complete Tones collection. Share with us what these are and how people can work with them.
So this is more like what we just did, but it is not customized for each individual. I would recommend getting both. There's actually the last package is to get the Complete Tones collection and the channeled recorded message so that you have that custom experience where you can ask your question at the guides, and then also use the Complete Tones collection to complement that. They're channeled sound harmonics from the Clairaudience and the Council of Light, the Mary Magdalene Collective, Archangel Michael, the Lemurians, and many more. And the guides take you on a journey into your soul to alchemize and create new neuronal pathways. And this collection is focused on very specific things. So there is an activation for love. And I have to tell you, after people buy this, be prepared if you decide to purchase. After people purchase the activation for love, many have a surge of self-love after working with the guides. And I recommend that people use these tones over and over again. There's no such thing as, use it once and then it's over. You learn new things each time you listen. And so people often have a surge of self-love. And then after using the activation for love for a few days, I've noticed that people start meeting people. I'm not saying it's always a love and marriage situation, but people do start meeting people in a pandemic, which is very exciting. So that's a great one. The Complete Tones collection also includes the tones for chronic pain. This has been really helpful for a lot of my clients. These tones came through me when I was in chronic pain, when I couldn't even move. My feet hurt so much that I couldn't wiggle my toes. It just felt like needles jabbing into my bones. And so these tones, I personally have witnessed how well they work, and they've also worked for a lot of my clients. The Complete Tones collection also includes the tones for anxiety relief. If you have a presentation at work that day, or if you're starting to feel anxious about kids going back to school or whatever is happening, you can put on the tones for anxiety relief and find that calm middle space within you and be able to overcome that moment. The guides, in the tones for anxiety relief, the guides also take you through a process to really heal it on a deeper level. So if you're someone who experiences a lot of anxiety, that's a great one. And then there are the tones for the new earth, which will bring you into your new earth. It will take you to what that new earth looks like and feels like. And whenever you need to transcend something happening around you, the tones for new earth are right there to support. The Mary Magdalene Collective is very powerful in that one. And then I include a free gift of the tones for viral fear. You can also pick those up on my website too. And these were created at, I believe in February, when things started to ramp up here in the States. And these tones will allow you to take yourself out of the place of fear. We're surrounded by so much fear-mongering all the time at this point. If it's not coronavirus, it's wildfires burning our houses down and maybe we're going to go to war with a new country. It's everywhere right now. And all of these things are serious. I don't mean to diminish them in any way, shape, or form. They are very serious. But when you get to that fear place, check out the tones for viral fear. The Pleiadians and the Arcturians channel through a beautiful activation there as well.
Yes. Okay, beautiful. You also have ways that people can save. So when they bundle both of those items together, they actually get another discount off of that, off of both of those prices. So that is beautiful. Thank you so much. We are clearing so much on a collective and even just in our own lives. And, what's happening outside is also something coming up within us. And these are really great tools, really, really powerful tools to assist us. And that's the good news, is we know how we can use tools like this to really balance us out and harmonize us at this time. Thank you. And not only that, it's empowering so that we can step forward, as we know our voice now is needed in such a beautiful way. And I know that these tones, when we work with them, it does empower the voice. It's not empowering the voice from a mind level. It's empowering a voice from the heart level. Mm-hmm. And we're actually toning that through our physical bodies. So with these tone collections, we can do what you did in our session today, right? And tone right alongside so that they're physically coming through our bodies.
Mm-hmm. And as you tone with the guides, they don't always ask you to tone with them in these tone packages, but you are always welcome to. As you tone with them, the vibration of your own voice starts to create new neuronal pathways in your brain. This is how we know that sound healing is real and that it does work. So we not only have the spiritual level of healing with the guides and source energy coming through us and channeling healing energy through us, but we also know through science that this is something that truly creates change in our brain.
Truly creates new neuronal patterns in our brain with the toning. And so another thing that we know, I want to share as well, how powerful this is that when we combine the intention, as you said, when we work with the intention, they are carried on the sound vibration. They are amplified. So if we tone and work with these tones, holding intentions for whatever it is we wish to achieve and work on, that is where it goes multidimensional and quantum, because the release is there. Have you ever noticed have you heard of any stories of spontaneous releases, of people going into tears with this, of that reawakening, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It happens all the time. One of the most important things to me about my life, one of the tenets of my life, is to leave behind something for other people. And one of the beautiful things about what I'm doing now is receiving emails and DMs and private messages about people's experience with these tones. And sometimes things happen so instantaneously that people are just shocked. They can't believe what's happening to them. For example, I received an email this morning from a woman who had purchased the tones for chronic pain. And after listening to them every morning for 3 days, I recommend that you listen to them repeatedly, because our brains like repetition. They like to keep things moving in that same direction for a while. After 3 mornings of using the tones, this woman's sciatic pain was gone, and it's something she's been dealing with for 40 years. She's seen every chiropractor in her area. She's had 2 surgeries. It's never been able to go away. She has very expensive orthotics in her shoes, and she is in no pain. And isn't that just the most incredible thing, that the guides work through time and space, over time and space, to really heal what needs to be healed? What this woman realized while she was listening to the tones for chronic pain was that her sciatic pain started during a move when she was in her 20s, and she felt very alone. She was moving alone, moving out from living with a loved one, and she felt like she was all alone in the world during that time, and that's when the pain started. And when she had that realization and she decided to use her own channeled recorded message to write over that, the pain was completely gone.
Isn't that amazing? That is beautiful. We love hearing miracles like that. The power of sound, the quantum effect of sound, and particularly your own voice using that sound through your body. All right, thank you so much for this. We are talking about Adalina's special offer. Again, that is available, and we invite you to check that out. Take advantage of that, and you can get the immediate downloads for that. Great, wonderful. Well, I would like to ask for questions from our audience. We have one question in our chat so far. There may be more coming in. And when we have callers, let's see. Here's a question. Now, for callers with their hands raised, if they want to ask you a question, what's the best type of question for them to ask you? It's not as if you're giving them a mini reading, but you can answer questions.
Mm-hmm. I think keep it as open-ended as you can. The guides will bring through whatever's most important.
All right, so if you're on the phone or the web call on our webpage at acoustichealth.com, you can hit *2 to raise your hand. We're going to go to Bonnie, or it could be Linda. It's in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Hi, caller, you're unmuted. What's your name, please?
I'm Linda.
It is
You're
Linda.
almost right.
it says Bonnie on this, but I know.
I know
you.
it does. I
Okay.
know.
What is your question? Yeah, for Adalina.
What, Adalina? Thank you. I've been listening, and it's wonderful. Do my guides have any clue as to what I should be doing for more financial abundance?
Okay, let me tune in here.
Or how can I increase it?
Our dearest one, we do see that you are asking for more financial abundance. And what we ask you to do is to make a list of all of the abundance that is already existent in your life. As you make this list, we ask you to visualize the color purple surrounding these words. And as you see this purple halo stretching around these words, allow your mind to drift into meditation. Allow your mind to stay open to whatever comes through. We do see that there are a number of investments that are taking place at this time. And we do encourage you, when in meditation, to visualize what your future would be like with each one of those investments. As you visualize this, you will know your answer. It will come to you very quickly, like a lightning bolt, for it is already being transmitted through your higher self. We're very grateful for this question. One other note we would like to share with you is that you do take a lot of your time to help others, and we appreciate this service so very deeply. We ask you to care for yourself first before giving to others. Remind yourself to take care of yourself first, for part of the abundance that is waiting to flow to you needs you to feel worthy of that abundance and needs you to know that in order for it to flow, you must first be taking care of yourself well. We do understand this may not be the exact answer that you were hoping for, but part of your spiritual journey is learning how to trust your higher self. And we have already seen that as you make this list of things which are abundant in your life and begin to visualize the purple halo surrounding them, you will know the answer. Our greatest blessings and love to you, dear one.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Adalina. Thank you so much.
Thank
you, Lauren. I appreciate you guys
Linda.
very, very much.
Oh,
and thank you. That it was very kind of what you said. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, you got it. So, Linda, please practice that and let us know, okay? That's awesome. I love that. So that idea as well works for all of us. Beautiful advice there. Making that list and visualizing the color purple and going through that beautiful process. All right. Beautiful wisdom. We have a question coming in. So do you make tones? Let's see. When in the reading, in your reading that you do, your recorded message, your channeled recorded message, would that have tones in it?
Yes. So normally the guides channel through some wisdom for that person first, like what just happened with Linda. And then there's usually some practical suggestions as well, like I would never dream of writing out all the things you have in abundance and then picturing purple around them. They'll give something like a sort of practical steps for you to do. And then they usually get to the root of one of your traumas that perhaps you haven't even thought of or weren't conscious that it was holding you back. And they walk you through rewriting that process and then give you tones specifically for that trauma. And the most incredible things come through. That's how I know that it's not me, because somehow the guides know exactly what that person needs. So if you decide to purchase the channeled recorded message, you will get specific tones just for you.
Yes, okay. All right. It's a journey to your soul. Beautiful. Let's go. We have a question from Cindy. Then we're going to go to another caller. Caller, star 2 if you'd like to ask a question. Cindy in Salt Lake says, what do I most need to know to heal myself and my children?
Our dearest Cindy, what we would like to bring forward is that there is a great deal of generational healing to be done in your family, and we understand that you would like to start with yourself and your children, but where we would ask you to start would be further back in time. For we all have past lives, of course, but we also have genetic lineages, and part of your lineage is Lemurian. And there is a great deal of trauma to be healed there throughout your family line. We would ask you to begin by speaking to older relatives, if they are still living. If they are not currently in this dimension, we do see that you do have a great deal of psychic gifts, and you are probably able to reach out to them in the multidimensional universe and ask them specifically what would help at this moment. What we would also like to bring through is that a part of your healing is channeled through your children. To us, it looks as if there is one child, and every time you look into this child's eyes, you see your own past and you see your own future. What we would like to bring through for you is that this child was sent specifically to help you heal this family lineage. You've known this for quite some time. We do recommend that you choose a healer to work with on some of these issues, for there is a great deal of work that you are able to do yourself with your own multidimensional gifts, but there are certain things that must be handled with another person. This person would likely also be able to help this particular child of yours as well. We ask you to start here. We ask you to use your voice daily to remind your children of how much you love them. In this moment, we ask you to join your ring finger and your thumb on both hands. And we can see that you are already up in this place of iridescent white light, in this place of source energy, and tone with us for just a moment. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Remember that we are here to support you and that you are loved. Many blessings to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have comments coming in from the activation that people are feeling lighter, feeling very peaceful, many tears and then tingles up my legs was reported from one listener, right? Such a beautiful alignment with Gaia there too, and the earth. It was such a gentle process, this person says, but a really strong experience energetically in my body. Beautiful.
Good.
Yes, excellent, everyone. Beautiful. When we take the time to do this, it's awesome. When we take the time to roto-rooter out that trauma, to rewrite that trauma, this is the beauty that awaits us. All right, let's go to our phone line. It looks like Sophia in Park Ridge, Illinois. Hi, caller. You're unmuted. Is this Sophia?
This is Sophia.
Hi.
Hi, Lauren. Hi, Adalina. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. My question is, I have this great resistance to selling my home and decluttering, and it's causing more stress and more financial hardships. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts, best time to sell, and maybe what my block is.
Okay. Let me tune in. We are the Arcturians, and we're very pleased to be with you. What we see is that there was an early trauma in life that had to do with your home. You were not ripped from your home, realistically, but there were moments that you felt as though you might be. There was a constant nagging fear of being ripped from your home. Whether this comes to your consciousness at this point or not matters not. It will come to you either now or in the next few days. And when it does come to you, we ask you to use this process, which we channel through this channel. Ascend yourself up to the place of iridescent light and creator space, as we did before on this call. And rewrite this memory of you as a child. See all of the things around you, all of your beloved things in the yard, and ground your feet, your little feet, your child's feet, into this place. And remember that your home is multidimensional. Your home is not only that home that you had as a child, but it is also this great wide universe. You are a universal being. You don't need to ground yourself in only one place, for you are a fractile of God's light, and fractiles of light move everywhere. As you begin to remember Remember that childhood place. Remember that you are a multidimensional being with homes everywhere, that you are grounded throughout the multiverse. This feeling of stuckness and this feeling of inability to move forward will loosen. And take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. The tones which we feel are most appropriate for you have already been released in one of the podcasts of this channel. We ask you to use these daily for the next week to allow yourself to move forward. And many blessings and much love to you. Hi there.
Hi, Adalina. Thank you.
I'm trying to find the podcast that they're talking about. Hang on just one second. I believe it's called Getting Unstuck. Oh, well, see, unfortunately, this is how it goes sometimes with the guides. It's actually the podcast that's going to be released on Wednesday. So check it out on Wednesday. It's called Light Beings and Way Showers.
The website Light Beings and Way Showers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I will do that.
There that will help you move forward and sell that house. It's time.
Thank you. Yes, I know it's time, but I've been like frozen in ice. And I know there's been a block, and I think you're right on. I had a kind of a traumatized young childhood, so I'm not surprised that the roots are there. So I'm grateful for helping me. Thank you so much, Adalina.
Of course, you're so welcome.
Thank you, Lauren, for calling on me.
Yes, thank you, Sophia. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, I want to just say again, you've been listening to Adalina East, and she is a beautiful channel with many guides and ascended masters, and your guides too. And she brings forth sound harmonics from the Pleiadians, from the Mary Magdalene Collective. Oh my goodness, from the Syrians, the Arcturians, beautiful beings of light to assist you on your journey. Her special offer is available, and you are invited to check that out. We have time right now for one more caller. We're going to go to Little Rock, Arkansas, area code 501. Hi, caller. You are unmuted. What's your name?
Hi. My name is Holly.
Hi, Holly.
Oh, it's so great to talk to you. Thank you both for taking my call today.
Yes. What's your question for Adalina?
Hi, Adalina. My question is, I have been recently doing some remembering myself from, what I realized today are my guides coming through to me. One of them being Archangel Metatron. And I've been studying shamanism and Reiki, and I would just love to know what my guides would like for me to do to be able to help others now and to help in the collective.
So they started channeling through before she even picked up the call. Thank you so much, Loren, for being so intuitive.
Oh, great.
Our dearest one, we're very pleased to see that you are undertaking this exploration of your multidimensional gifts. What we would most like to bring through to you today is that, yes, you are studying these beautiful ancient wisdoms of Reiki and shamanism, but your gift is actually very different. This is a beautiful starting point, but it is a starting point. This is not the end of your journey. You have a very particular gift with your hands, and we know that you already know this. There is something about your hands when they touch the earth, that it brings new life, not only to the earth, but to you and to others. And we request that you explore this gift. Please do not let this gift stop with Reiki and shamanism, for you have something very beautiful and unique to bring through to the world in this time. And we recommend that you begin to work with someone, work with a mentor of sorts, in order to continue to explore this very unique gift. We're so grateful for your presence on the planet right now, and we encourage you to keep exploring. Many blessings to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Holly.
Oh, thank you so much. I have been feeling so much energy in my hands, and that's why I was led to Reiki and studying that. And I have a deep love for the crystals and the area in which I live, and the earth is just so important to me, and this really, really helps me so much.
Where do you live, may I ask?
I live in central Arkansas.
Okay. So you
On
have all
top of the crystal vein.
Yeah.
Yes, near Hot Springs, Arkansas, and the beautiful crystals there, Lake Washita, Mount Ida. Oh, in it.
Yes.
You are in Lightworker Central.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, this has been beautiful. And again, we thank you so much because we're all feeling really shifted here. And again, we're talking about really being so in tune with our body that we can create new neural pathways after we remove the trauma. We talk a lot about purification, and oh my, we've got a lot of clearing going on, and we're doing it in our own lives as well as the collective. So again, thank you so much, Adalina, for your special offer, for working with people in the channeled recorded messages that you offer, as well as the full tones, the collection that people can work with those. It is really beautiful, and we recognize that opportunity to go deep here, and I hope everyone decides to go deep with Adalina. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Adalina, as we close our program, do you have any final heart thoughts for us?
I just want to send so much love to everybody out there. I know this is a wild time of transition, but what I always hear from the guides is that we were brought here on purpose during this time to be light workers, to raise the vibration, and to really offer our gifts from a heart-centered place and from as much of a healed place as we possibly can. It's very hard to offer our gifts if we're not feeling great ourselves. And so I just want to encourage everybody out there to remember to drink water, eat healthy, nutritious food, take really great care of yourself so that you can continue to explore your spiritual gifts and serve others with them.
Yes, beautiful. Adalina, thank you so much. We are floating high and in high vibes, and we are so grateful for this experience and for the beautiful wisdom that you shared from the beautiful guides today. Wow.
Thank you,
Lorraine. Thank you.
I'm so grateful that you exist in this world, and thank you for being so beautifully generous with your time and bringing all of this lightness to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you everyone too for listening, because this is so very, very beautiful, and it is your time to shine. Happy movement, everyone. Thank you for being here today. And now it is time to dance our way to the cosmic heart. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe, music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.